Some of us have a hard time finishing things that we start. College, books, quest for vengeance. I haven't forgotten, Pierre, I've just been a little bit busy, okay? And the same is actually true with arpeggios, and we're going to talk about how to break them up and help them with our solo playing. So what I mean by not finishing what you start, arpeggio-wise, let's kind of talk about that one shape that we've done off of G, which we've talked about this before in previous lessons. It looks like this. But, you know, maybe you start off with good intentions. You're like, all right, I got this. G, A, B, D, feeling good. All right, now it's like, right? So really, I think arpeggios are a really great way to learn the fretboard and to never be stuck, especially when it comes to lead playing stuff. But it can be kind of daunting going through one entire fretboard spanning shape. So we're going to break it down into individual pieces of this arpeggio. And this is going to be anything you can do over a major chord, okay? So our chord is going to be G major. Play however you want. Same applies for an acoustic guitar, whatever you want to use to utilize these awesome lick building arpeggio shapes. And let's really quick review just what this G major arpeggio is. If we start on a G, we go to the 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret. Okay, so this is a G, A, and a B. Now an A isn't in a G major chord. Arpeggio is just a chord played one note at a time, but we're using it as a transitional element. So our whole arpeggio is going to be G, A, B, D. Remember that G major chord is just a G, a B, and a D. All right? So G, A, B, D is the first phase, the first shape of that. We're going to go down a string to the 5th fret on the D string. G, A, B, D. The exact same shape we just did. Root note, 2 frets, 2 frets, down a string, back 2 frets. Root fret, root note, 2 frets, 2 frets, down a string, back 2 frets. Compensate for the B string, we end up on the 8th fret of the B string, G. There's a root note, 2 frets, 2 frets, down a string, back 2 frets. We can end on the 15th fret of the high E string. So all together. Okay, now we don't have to do that all as one. In fact, if you just practice it that way, it might sound a little bland. It might sound like an exercise, just an arpeggio up and down. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hone in on certain parts of this, just little pieces, so we don't have to finish the whole thing. We're just gonna kind of jump into the middle, all right? So we're gonna leave this first section behind. See ya. We're gonna start on this G, the 5th fret of the D string, 7th fret, 9th fret, 7th fret of the G string. I might have said G string, D string. So 5D, 7D, 9D, 7G. This is it. We're just gonna make this kind of like a touchstone of 4 different notes that we can play anytime a G major chord pops up. Or really technically anytime anything in the G major scale, any of those chords pop up. Basically, we can jump into it from a G bar chord, G open chord, into, all right, so we can kind of be like jamming on like a G like this. We can double stop through them too. Again, I'm just kind of randomly mixing these 4 notes together, and it's a little more musical sounding if you play them out of order, if you jump around, instead of just going. Maybe I want to slide right into the major 3rd. I want to slide right into that 9th fret on the D string. Happens to be a B, right? I can go right from this chord into that note, and I'm thinking of it from this kind of arpeggio that is from a larger arpeggio, all right? So, common tones of this chord. Alright, now another thing you can do, you can double stop through it, start playing those notes combined with each other. This is a good example of maybe I've got 3 notes on one string and only 1 note on another string. So what I can do is I can maybe keep this note right here, which again, this is just an octave of a D that we kind of came from here, the 5th of G, G, A, B, C, D, okay? So I can add that to any of these other notes in that arpeggio, okay? So I can kind of make little dyad chords, however you want to look at it. Any kind of combination of those, I think sounds pretty cool. So you can kind of be jamming on this G major chord. Whatever you want to do, you know? know, it's up to you. It's really just thinking of it, being creative in any way that you want. We can go and extend this to the next pitched octave up arpeggio that we did so if this is the first one, second one, third one. So now we're just on the 8th fret, 10th fret, 12th fret of the B string, and the 10th fret of the high E string. Again, all of these notes are in that G major chord, again with the A being a transitional one. We're just kind of adding from the G major scale. So again, if I'm going a little too fast for you, really just break down the fundamental aspects of what's in a chord, and it can be absolutely any chord. This is just one example, and the great thing about this example is, and most arpeggio examples, is that it's totally movable. If you wanted to do something maybe 2 frets higher, G, G sharp, A, anything you want to add over an A major chord, you could do with these arpeggios here, right? So just like we did from here, this G, same thing, just 2 frets higher. So now I can think of maybe if I want to slide into something, I can slide into the 11th fret of the D string from an A. And that seems cool because look, oh, that's a journey right there. Whoever's doing that must know what they're doing. Not really. You're just kind of taking little pieces of an arpeggio that you learned. You didn't even maybe learn in order. You just took a little spot of it. And that's why I think this is really, in my opinion, like the best way to really learn the fretboard, because you're learning it in a musical context and just different places. You know, it just happens with different chord voicings. If you know this is an A major chord, this is an A major chord, this is an A major arpeggio that leads you to that. All of these things are traveling all over the guitar that you can kind of use in different applications and stuff like that, right? So really, the lesson is just kind of see arpeggios as a tool that is very helpful in developing maybe touchstones or like hot zones on the guitar that you can always see and get to from any chord. Like for instance, one thing that I incorporate in my playing, especially if I'm improvising, is if I'm on a major bar chord, I know that arpeggio is gonna lead me into, like here, if I have this octave G, that's the beginning of that arpeggio. So I always think of this arpeggio starting here, 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 and here. So I know that these spots are something I can always go to if I ever want to kind of liven up something that I'm playing. All right? So hopefully that was helpful to you. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website. I'd love to stay longer, but I have to finish my quest for vengeance. See you later.